there's even one life that can be saved, then we've got an obligation to try. And I'm calling on Congress to pass some very specific proposals right away. Congress should restore a ban on military-style assault weapons and a 10-round limit for magazines.
President Obama on Wednesday talking about his proposals. Now, I wrote about this, and I've talked about this several times on Byline. I wrote about it for my newspaper column this morning, and the reaction has been interesting. I've had people call me racist. They say you must be racist if you disagree with Obama on gun control, even though we set out arguments of why his proposals won't actually accomplish anything. I've been told, well, isn't it worth at least trying, even if what you say is true, which is a truly bizarre argument. I want to get the opinion of Professor Joyce Malcolm. She is the author of To Keep and Bear Arms and has studied gun control extensively. Professor Malcolm, President Obama is calling for an assault weapons ban, which will essentially ban certain types of rifles based on their looks. But handguns are the main culprit.
We had an assault weapon ban for 10 years, from 1994 to 2004, when it was allowed to expire. And actually, I should say that what is an assault weapon is sort of based on kind of cosmetic features of a kind of long handle and a folding telescope. They're really not any different from ordinary semi-automatic rifles. But the result of the 10 years of this this assault weapon ban was that the government studies found that there was no effect whatsoever that they could find on impacting gun violence. It just made no difference. And then they pointed out that that probably wasn't surprising because these weapons were very seldom used in crime anyway.
Yeah, well, it's easier to walk around with a handgun in the back of your pants than it is with an AR-15. And we've shown the stat board before. It's probably worth showing again. The last year, the FBI's released stats for 8,775 murders with firearms, 6,009 of them were with guns, 358 with rifles, or sorry, 6,009 with handguns, 358 with rifles. He's aiming at the wrong spot. Is this a political thing in that while a lot of Americans are scared of the idea of an assault weapon, which is a very ill-defined term, and as you say, based on cosmetics, a lot of people are scared of that, but most Americans are very comfortable with the idea of handguns because they might want one in their home for protection?
Well, it's more than that, really, because he can't ban handguns. In 2008, there was a landmark Supreme Court decision that sort of spelled out exactly what the right that was in the Second Amendment, and it said that individuals had a right to have a handgun for their protection. So it specifically pointed out handguns in the home for self-defense because this was the most popular and commonly used weapon for protection. So even if he wanted to ban handguns, he would not be able to do it constitutionally.
Is this constitutional? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that in the last few years, one state after another has allowed law-abiding people who fulfill certain basic requirements to carry a handgun concealed, to carry a concealed weapon, with the idea that it would deter crime. And we now have 39 states that have these shall issue concealed carry laws. So there are millions of Americans out carrying or privileged to carry handguns. I live in one of those states, Virginia. It's a very safe state.
The proposal by President Obama, I know that it was in for 10 years. Is it constitutional, though?
That's a good question, because the Supreme Court in its decision talked about how guns that were sort of in common use were legal. And these semi-automatic rifles, of which there are millions in common use, may well be protected by that decision. It's not really certain. But I actually think it's not that clear, no. But I think he's aiming at the wrong thing, because I don't think that either trying to reduce handguns or long guns is going to make a difference. I think we need to just allow people to protect themselves in these so-called gun-free zones, or have someone who's able to protect people.
What I keep being asked for, as I describe why the president's proposals won't work, is, all right then, genius, what will work? I think that focusing on mental health and on actual criminals is what America needs to do to reduce firearms murders, to reduce all murders, which, by the way, America is number 28 in the world in terms of murders with firearms. Well down, despite being number one. You're number one with a bullet when it comes to owning firearms. You're down at number 28
right.
behind a whole lot of other countries in the Western Hemisphere. So I think it's mental health and criminals. As a professor of law, what do you think are the options available that might have an impact?
Well, I think you're absolutely right about doing something about people who are mentally ill and violent. In the 1960s, America sort of did away with all of these big state institutions to house the mentally ill, and there were reasons for doing that, but they never put anything in their place. And we now have laws protecting people's privacy, so a lot of people who are really a danger to the public cannot be put in a hospital without their consent. And that there needs to be some kind of a balance, so that if you have people who are really a danger to the public because they're deranged, that they can be put in an institution whether they like it or not, because we need some kind of a balance.
One of the things that we've been told is that Adam Lanza's mother was looking to do that with her son before he went on a shooting rampage. And I understand that Connecticut is one of the toughest states to commit someone, even if they will be a harm to others. So maybe that is a way to look. Professor Malcolm, thanks so much for joining us, and I do recommend that everyone check out your book. It is called To Keep and Bear Arms. Stick around, we've got more to come. Email me your thoughts, though, byline@sunmedia.ca.